Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this live stream. I hope everybody is really doing well. And congratulations for Bitcoin pumping towards 51,600 bucks. And I think we are thrilled. Our spot bags are pumping. 30% gains, guys, with our spot bags so far up on Bitcoin. We literally bought around 39,000 a year, 39,300 on the dip for the Bitcoin. And look at this move on and upside, guys. Almost close to 30.6% gains on Bitcoin spot bags, but everybody was aiming for $35,000, $30,000. We were like, no, we should buy because this is a clear bullish will phase in my view. Now that was like a five waves. Five waves normally end, with the next pump, should happen, and that's exactly what we did with Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. So I think yesterday also I also mentioned that the wave even local bottom is in, and that's exactly where we should be going in. Show literally caught the bottom around 48,350. Amazing. I'm riding that trade as well. And I think now that we are literally going to $52,000 on Bitcoin, because that's exactly where we have our weekly levels on 1 hour time frame, as well as we have 9 rockets. But if you remember, our support resistance algo literally killed it. We had 48,222, a big 41 rocket support, a strong support. That support on our resistance algo mentioned that it is very, very strong and it's not gonna break, so that we went up. This literally is going to confirm, guys, what Bitcoin wants in going ahead. And basically, guys, it's just the matter of time that we are now very, very close to the new all-time highs, like $18,000, just $18,000, guys, and Bitcoin can literally be at the new all-time highs. Trust me, these anywhere above 48,000 is where people are literally going to FOMO. The FOMO have already kicked in, started. Fear and greed index is at extreme greed. Now people might feel that extreme greed is where we should be very cautious. Of course we should be cautious and we should just play the levels on my view, but trust me, extreme greeds are sometimes good. And in bull market, extreme greed have touched 95 as well and 85 as well. But overall, I think we are now going to the big resistance. So guys, what is next for Bitcoin? Overall, if I just look at the USD DOM on the weekly time frame, the USD DOM just made a bullish divergence on the weekly, but it is not yet confirmed. But if you see here, the RSI is just testing for like a second time, the way it did over here, like when it did the testing for like a second time. That's exactly where we literally got a bottom for USD DOM. And I mentioned as well that we are likely going to have a big rejection from 6.2% and maybe even 6.4%, the 0.382 Fibonacci levels, and we are likely going to go down to sweep the lows on the USD DOM, and that's exactly what we did, ladies and gentlemen. Perfectly played out the HTF plan on the USD DOM, and in my view, now that we have swept the lows, I think that we have now completed the 5-wave structure, or we are now on a verge of completing the 5-wave structure on a USD DOM. So that's exactly where we need a little bit more confirmation for the USD DOM. If RSI starts losing as well the levels of 30, then definitely the market is going to go haywire, and I'm damn sure the market is so going to go nuts. Every damn thing is going to bounce, especially alts, and I think we are entering into the most important phase of this bull run. I mean, we never expected or anticipated. Just give me a moment, guys. So we never anticipated or expected, that the Bitcoin is literally going to go into an era of a bull run. It is going to break golden pocket zone in a single slingshot. We never ever anticipated, honestly. And that's exactly what Bitcoin, because historically, every cycle, Bitcoin normally goes to golden pocket zone, rejects to 0.14 fib of the bear market, and then it pumps. But this cycle is so different than what we have experienced, and which also takes me to my view on Bitcoin. I mean, honestly speaking, that we have been losing 5.63% as well on the weekly time frame. This is definitely, in my view, a bullish case for Bitcoin, and that is going to be like, we need to just lose over here, and we just need to see the momentum going. So we are at a huge support on the USD DOM. Basically over here, RSI on the weekly has also forming a bullish divergence. This is like a good support for USD DOM. So if you know Bitcoin needs to pump up, the money needs to roll out from here, from the USD DOM to literally to Bitcoin. So I think this is a very crucial level, like a do or die for the bears. Actually, I mean, the bears are literally going to get fucked if you know 5.2, because you know there is practically no support. I mean, just imagine losing that 5.2% over here on the USD DOM. We don't have any sort of support. The market will literally go nuts, and it's just going to pump 30% out of nowhere, meaning that Bitcoin can literally gonna make new all-time highs out of nowhere, because we are at a very crucial level. It's a do or die level for, you know, the market, and that's exactly where the good opportunities come. I mean, if you have literally missed the pump from 39,000, don't worry guys, this is a do or die levels. If USD dominance loses this on the daily as well, we start flipping back under on the daily, then definitely it's going to be very bullish. You really don't need to look for any retest, simply just long it. That's what I would say. But you really need to wait for the daily close, because you know this can be like a finishing of the wave 5, and you know, as weekly RSI is bullish on the USD DOM, we might be seeing a very interesting bullish divergence formation. As a weekly, we still have a lot of time for the USD DOM to form. So overall guys, USD DOM is a big support, something we need to keep in mind. Talking about the Bitcoin guys, let's move on to the Bitcoin on heart and time frame. Talking about it, Bitcoin is forming a bigger broadening top pattern, and the broadening top pattern target is almost there. I would say we are very close to it. 52,882 is my target for a broadening top pattern, and now this clearly makes me so bullish on Bitcoin, because that clearly confirms you know, that we are literally in a bigger wave 5. You know, what do you mean by that? Which means that this was some sort of, let's say, wave 1. This was sideways wave 2 over here. That was a wave 3 on the upside that we got over here. You know, a wave 4 over here with a, you know, some sort of a what do you say, a sharp move on the downside, like a flush, and we got a 5-way move going towards 52,882. The only bull and bear zone you really need for Bitcoin now is 52,882, because if BTC even flip that level, guys, khalas, there is no coming back. It's not gonna stop. It's gonna pump to new all-time highs in a matter of few days, maybe even a matter of, you know, few hours as well. You never know. But you really don't have any big resistance above 52,882. The only resistance then probably you can look for is 786 Fibonacci levels. But nevertheless, in my view, once that, you know, 52,880 is crossed, I think BTC is literally going to fly towards $69,000 levels. It's going to be like a big pump, and every whole market is going to get sent, you know. So, but right now we still are having a big resistance of 52,880. That's exactly where we got a dump previously, if you remember, you know, in 2021. That's exactly where we got a dump from there to $39,200. So basically we are now also having a broadening top pattern. A broadening top pattern is a very relevant pattern as well. And let's say if this is what, you know, the broadening, if you do rejecting here, I do think that BTC is likely then going to, you know, not only do something like this. If the broadening top pattern plays out, we're going to sweep the lows, go to 36,300 maybe, and then we're going to get a big bounce from there. So that's where a big broadening top pattern forms actually on a Bitcoin. So we just have to either we invalidate this broadening top pattern, or we'll simply just blew past the 52,880, to be at all-time highs. We are holding our spot bags. I've sold my 50% spot bags at 48.2, and I'm still holding my 50% of spot bags that we bought at 39,000 to 39,300. 30.5% gain so far. At 48,200, it was almost close to 23.5 to 25% gains. I'm happy with what we have made it so far. And I do think at this point we need to be slightly cautious on Bitcoin, because we are going to the resistance of 52,880. That's going to be like a do or die for Bitcoin. Okay, remember those levels. Talking about a weekly time frame, very important. Weekly time frame is going to be very important. A lot of people do not want to see this, but I just want you guys to see this. If you look at the RSI over here, as I mentioned a few days back as well, that RSI is going to give us a retest, which never happened. The retest actually did not came, and it literally broke out, meaning the RSI, people feel that RSI is going to make a bearish divergence over here, but in my view, that is not going to happen. RSI is going to run up more towards 88, 80.88, maybe even 90. That's a very high likely. But if we see that weekly is closing this way with RSI making bear divergence, then we might just be having some problem with Bitcoin. But overall, I really don't have any reason to be bearish on Bitcoin, guys. Literally no reason at all. I mean, from the wavecon perspective, yes, it can be irregular, expanded, flat. Yes, my plan is still same. I have two plans over here, and I've already shared with you guys. Even when we were at 40,000, I mentioned that 48,000 is coming. The Chinese New Year, we are going to pump. We have two scenarios over here. The first scenario, as I mentioned, that end of fifth wave at 52,882. We got a dip towards 48,500. I was likely expecting a dip to go towards $47,500, but that's fine. And we literally got that fifth wave towards 52,882. So this is the plan, the broadening top plan that I have. Normally, if we do have the broadening top, this is how it should play out. That's the scenario one that we have. The scenario two is fairly irregular, expanded, flat, which also indicates that we can go for irregular, expanded, flat over here with a B should not go beyond 1414 Fibonacci levels. Now, if you just draw the fibs for B wave over here, let's say you want to see where exactly the B wave is, and then your B wave should not go beyond 1414, because that's clearly going to invalidate then your irregular expanded flat, which is going to be around 53,300 bucks, so which is very close to 52,880. All the things tells me that 52,880 is going to be our big resistance. And also Ethereum, despite of the fact ETH had a 4-hour bearish engulfing candle yesterday, we literally pumped this bearish engulfing candle on the 4-hour. For the first time, I'm seeing it gets invalidated, meaning the market is literally bullish. For the first time, ETH have reached the 2022 0.618 Fibonacci levels, and its primary target of the trend line, which is very close. I think if you look at the weekly trend line over here on ETH, it's so valid. And I also feel that ETH has been doing its fifth wave now. Everything seems to me like a fifth wave for now, and this is like a very interesting a diagonal sort of a structure that I am aiming for at this point. Now, this might be a really invalid diagonal unless we see irregular, expanded, flat, because ETH literally did on the pump that we are seeing on ETH, it's more or less seems to me like the pump has happened with ABC move instead of we anticipated with like a 5-wave structure. So that's a little bit sign of a worry, but overall I think ETH is also bullish. My target for ETH is $3,000, which is 702 Fibonacci levels, and it can go to even 3,100 bucks. But definitely, as we are sweeping the highs, we really want to see how are we going to close today's daily candle for ETH as well. If you are closing a swing failure pattern, this whole move then probably going to be ended with irregular, expanded, flat, going back, taking back ETH towards, something like this. This is going to be like a bigger irregular expanded flat for ETH. We can go slightly more up, and then we get a sharp move on the downside, taking it to 2272 and maybe even 2300. But first of all, I think 2295 is a big levels, because now if you really want to be bullish, we really need to hold here 2295 to, if you really want to be bullish, we really need to hold those levels for ETH. Overall, guys, I think I really don't have the reason to be bearish here. The only reason I see to be bearish on Bitcoin is from the wavecon perspective. As I mentioned, we have two scenarios: the broadening top. We have the broadening top. The volume is decreasing on this pump. The whole move happened with the low volume on Bitcoin, and normally this sort of a pump happens when we are in wave 5 actually, which clearly indicates that till we are under 52,880, there is still a hope for Bitcoin to a dump towards 40,000 and maybe even $36,000. But flipping 52,880, guys, on daily, meaning that you really don't expect any sort of a dump. You simply go FOMO or market buy above 52,880. If we get acceptance above it, we start closing above it, then definitely we are pumping back to new all-time highs, guys. Trust me, I think February normally is the month where we see a big dump on the fear and greed index. If you study the fear and greed index chart, every February, in every February month from 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022, 2023, every Feb we top out, the fear and greed index tops out, and in Feb itself we see a sharp move on the downside, and normally by end of March or by mid of March, we normally bottoms with, from the fear and greed index, and the market starts reversing. Overall, guys, I think we are bullish. 52,880 is our levels. Once we reject from there, and if we start going back under the equilibrium of this bigger range, which is around 48,875, then yes, I would say that this might be a deviation, and we will be then probably ending up going down. But as I can see, we have a hell lot of liquidity above $52,000. I'm damn sure Bitcoin is targeting those liquidity above, and we are going to 52,880 for sure. For sure. The last thing I want to discuss, I'm not going to discuss much about alts at this point, but I just want to show you a very important thing for gold actually. So if you just look at gold over here on the weekly time frame, or best is the weekly time frame would be best in my view. So just look at gold actually, guys, on the weekly. I mean, I've already showed you previously as well. These charts were explained to you in a much better way, but just look at yourself. Everybody expects Bitcoin to top around 80,000, 90,000, and maybe even 100K. Max it can go to 150K. That's what they are saying. But just remember this whole pump on the gold, guys. And I personally feeling so FOMO over here. The reason being is, the reason being is the market is definitely not giving that dip sort of the dips that everybody expected. The whole ETF news dump has been retraced, and we are in like a parabolic cycle 1 actually. We are just completing it. So let's say if the market is so generous, and even if it just wants to give us the dip, the dip is likely going to come from the 786 Fibonacci levels, or max it would come from 886 Fibonacci levels, and the dip then probably would come from 886 Fibonacci levels to the golden pocket zone, or maybe even 0.702 Fibonacci levels. That is where exactly the liquidity pool would be. Just imagine what gold did. Let's understand this chart. So this is like a big impulsive move. This was like a clean double top sort of a thing. A market start dumping over heavily over down the downside, and when it starts reversing, it did not practically give any sort of a dump. It just kept on pumping. The first rejection happened at 702, then the golden pocket zone, and then from there we literally run up to almost like a new highs or 886 Fibonacci levels, and then we start dumping back towards 702, gave a big pump, go to 1618, and then we literally dumped to the previous all-time highs, and the market just went nuts for the gold actually. Normally, if you look at the Bitcoin chart, 2018 bear market, if you see, the Bitcoin literally copycatted the whole price action from the gold actually. A perfect price action, what gold actually did at that point of time, that's exactly what Bitcoin copied actually, if you just study it on a lower term time frame, but just imagine if, gold is literally went to this bigger cycle of 7618, which I don't have it on my fib scale. Let me just have it. 7618. 7618. Just look at it. It went to almost close to 7618. In fact, I would say it went way above 7618. But let's say even if we are going to 7618, for gold, if gold did this much, now just understand the Bitcoin chart. Just understand this. Let's try and understand the Bitcoin chart. I'm not changing the chart, to the at logarithmic scale. I'm just keeping it a normal chart because we want to see as to how this whole big structure on Bitcoin looks like. Now, even if you want to convert into logarithmic chart, it's fine, you can do it, but I think it would be much better for us to look Bitcoin from the perspective of the normal chart and not the logarithmic chart. So the first important levels for a Bitcoin would be, where is the 1618? Here. So the first important levels for Bitcoin would be 702 Fibonacci levels, which is around $53,000. If we really want to, move or get any sort of a retracement on Bitcoin, I think $52,000, $52,880 to $53,000 is where we will likely going to see a rejection. I mean, if we are literally want to see a rejection, I mean, this is where $52,880 to $53,000 is where I'm expecting a rejection. A rejection would then be from there to $48,500 to $48,000. And if you are holding that levels, basically this highs that we are holding it, that's also your equilibrium. Understand this, guys. We are talking about it as an equilibrium. So this is your range highs over here, the previous range highs that we have, and that is your range lows. So your equilibrium, slightly the range highs are off. We need to slightly have a proper range highs around 60, somewhere around. So you have your equilibrium around $47,000. And if I just have to say that if we are doing like a bigger range over here, this is like a bigger range that we are having at this point. You see a sharp move on the downside with ABC over here, which means that we already flipped the equilibrium, and we literally 42,190 was your equilibrium. Price flipped it, and now we are going to 702. So I think max it can go to $48,000 from that $52,800. And if we do happen to lose that 48,000, then we can look for more downside. But for now, this is how I see the price can literally go up to once till we are above $48,000. I think the price is going to do something like this, going to just simply give us that small retest in the pump, and it can literally go do something like this on Bitcoin. I mean, we just have to wait for it. And just imagine looking at the Bitcoin 7618 Fibonacci levels, the way gold had, if you just remember, have the 7618, it is somewhere around $422,217 dollars. Just imagine Bitcoin pumping to $42,000. Amazing. I mean, $422K dollars, guys. I mean, that is very close to almost $500,000 actually. We can even just, the price can literally form. I'm damn sure the retailers are not in yet. They are simply waiting more and more dips. The institutions are keep on buying. They just don't want any retailers to get any sort of a dip. They are their mindset is, if they give dip, everybody's gonna buy, and they won't be able to, run back turbo, because we don't literally have any sort of further news that is going to happen. Halving almost in 62 days, the halving is going to happen, less than that actually. So the halving, after halving, practically the market normally go Valhalla. It normally pumps actually, and before halving we normally get a 20 see the 20 to 30% dip on the market. So basically, in case, this is the bullish count, it $48,000 don't lose, and if we are literally holding that 48,000, this is the bullish count that I have. If the $48,000 is lost, or not on daily, guys, we're talking about weekly, if that level is lost, then yes, we would be aiming for going towards the range lows of $34,000, giving us that wave 2 over here, and then bounce something like this, and then we are running back up turbo for the new all-time highs of, as I mentioned, $422,000. I mean, trust me, guys. I mean, I do think that Bitcoin is not going to top out at 150k or maybe 200k. I do think Bitcoin is likely going to top out around $400,000. It's going to practically make everyone, like retails won't be able to buy Bitcoin. It's going to be a millionaire coin actually. Only millionaires would be able to afford Bitcoin right now. Yes, definitely anybody can afford Bitcoin. At least the middle class can afford Bitcoin even at this price. But just imagine if it starts going above $200,000 or $300,000. Trust me, even the normal class won't be able to afford, because it's like Bitcoin is so bigger than your housing market bubble actually. So that's where the price for the Bitcoin is likely then gonna go. So I do think, guys, at this levels, 52,880 is your big levels for Bitcoin. So till we are under these levels, you can expect another dump of like 20 to 30%. But once that level is flipped, khalas, you don't expect any dip, guys. You just keep on buying. That's what I would say. So for now, I think the half and time frame scenario, I'm bullish, and even the indicator is saying that we are at a H1 resistance of 51,800. So locally we might be able to see some sort of a move on the downside, a little bit, maybe a retest of Monday highs, because normally when the market pumps, it normally gives a retest of very close to Monday highs. Like this is like a retest, and we go further up. So on the lowest time frame, if you if you really want to take some scalp, 50,600 to 50,500 is the levels where we need to look for some scalp with a tight stop loss under $59,800 with a target of 52,858. Losing Monday highs would then probably send Bitcoin towards Monday lows and probably $47,000. So I think this is the lowest time frame scalp that you can play on the Bitcoin. Overall, guys, if you just look at the daily time frame on the Bitcoin, just look at the daily. The daily is looking so interesting. We have successfully flipped the previous month highs. There is no deviation. Yesterday I was so patiently waiting for bears to close on the previous month highs and make that previous pump like a deviation. Bears fucked up. Actually, they did not. They did not even manage to take it to the Monday lows actually, and they just failed. And you know what happened now? Bitcoin is literally going back nuts actually. Looking to the RSI, yes, RSI is having a bearish divergence for now, but I do think that RSI bear divergence is going to be negated, because RSI is bullish, and I think we are likely going to see a little bit more upside on RSI for Bitcoin the daily. So the daily momentum is going to keep on having it up like this. But trust me, guys, as I mentioned on the Twitter as well, every time after a Chinese New Year, which was on 10th of February, if you would have just bought a dip on 10th of February at 46,878, you would have you would have been up by almost close to 11%, guys. Normally the average pump that normally happens after the Chinese New Year is around 20%. That's what normally happens. And our finding was, I also bought some bags on Bitcoin at that point of time, because it's like a Chinese New Year. 2 dates I normally buy Bitcoin, irrespective of the price action happens. First, on my birthday, which was on 28th of Jan. Historically, if you look at the market, after 28th of Jan, we slightly get a little bit dip and the market starts reversing. The 28th of Jan, markets reverses and it just makes a big move. I mean, I also gave that analysis, on the Discord as well. Just look at 28th of Jan. 26th Jan, a big pump. 28th Jan, a little bit red. That was a good dip to buy at 41,660. And after that, the market just pumped almost close to 24% gains. So 24% from my birthday, 10% already from the Chinese New Year. And if you remember, my biggest prediction was in 2023, October, 28th of October 2023, when we were having a lunar eclipse. I mentioned that every damn time of that eclipse, the market goes haywire. The market normally pumps. And that's exactly what happened. 28th of October, 28, if you see, 28th of October, which was around 28th or 14th of October, I think. 28th of October, yeah. So 28th of October, we were at 33,940 and market literally just pumped or close to from those levels I would say it pumped almost close to 44% and then dump. And then overall now it's just went back to 53% gains. So there are some dates and there are some important dates in my life that I can, I normally don't miss it buying, especially on my birthday. You can just check it since 2018. Since 2018, go and check 28th of January. You will see every damn time, maybe, a day or two, the market might dump, but after that, the market reverses. It just keeps on pumping. I think only in 1 year it did not play it out. I don't remember whether it was in 2019. Even in 2020 it pumped actually after my birthday. It gave almost close to 20% move on an upside. Overall, guys, I think there is no reason to be bearish. Don't listen to anyone. They say that they are bearish. They are shorting, guys. Shorts, I would not risk anything with the short because trust me, we have played this way. And even if you miss this whole pump, let's say, even if you're not in it, in the Bitcoin and you have missed it, I do think, the market is so, I would not say that the market is very, very arrogant, that the market is not going to give you that dip. It always gives that dip, but it's also up to us as to how we want to play. I mean, last year when the Bitcoin literally, broke out from the previous all-time highs of $19,000 approx. So as you can see, we literally got a big impulsive move from there of almost close to 200%. So let's say right now, if you are saying that Bitcoin also does a very similar thing, and if we are looking for a pump from here, almost close to 200% gains as well on the Bitcoin front. I do think that Bitcoin can easily give you the 200% gains, taking back to 200 and somewhere around 210 to 230%, 210 to $220,000. Easy peasy, you can make it, guys. Now you really don't need to make with the leverage. Trust me, you don't need leverage. I have been making swings with spot backs. You really don't need leverage, but at this point, I think spots are going to be very nice. Don't risk your money with the leverage because the risk reward won't make sense for you at all. Talking about whether alts are going to run and when alts are going to run, guys. When? We are just waiting for alts to run, right? Everybody is waiting. So here is your chart that you really want to see or have a look at it. One of the best thing about this chart is, and which makes me a very bullish about it, is Ethereum is at $2,700 and this BTC dominance is at a big resistance of 54.3%, and I expect BTC dominance to reject, and the rejection should take Bitcoin dominance literally towards back to 50% levels. Meaning, what happens when Bitcoin flash dump, take all the liquidity, like it flash dump 10%, 15% in a single candle, and flush everyone out of it. I think that point of time, it's not the Bitcoin is going to outperform. Even if Bitcoin pumps from there, But at that point of time, alts are going to outperform in my view, because if this is how Bitcoin dominance is definitely looking bullish for now. But remember, we have a strong resistance, and I have, we already have two reasons for, personally, I see that two reasons for why I think that BTC dominance is bearish. First, on the 12 hours time frame, we have a gravestone doji, or you can also say a bearish pennant, which is the first sign of rejection from the equilibrium of this range at 54.3%. Then we got a retest. I do think this is more like a retest, which is going to happen on a Bitcoin dominance. As you can see, that BTC literally made the highs, but Bitcoin dominance did not made it, which means that alts are performing well. And hence, I think at this point that, that BTC dominance is so much, I would say, making it ready for it to dump a lot. So which means that alts Bitcoin pairs are going to rocket. The money is going to flow from Bitcoin to the alts Bitcoin pair. So if you really want to see which coins are going to pump, watch Bitcoin pairs. Like for example, ETH Bitcoin, Sol Bitcoin, INJ Bitcoin, whatever pairs you want to look, and look where the volume is coming in. What are the alt Bitcoin pairs are at big support, where the alt Bitcoin pairs, whether the RSI is bullish. Just try and analyze yourself and look for yourself that how alt Bitcoin pairs are going to, which alt Bitcoin pairs literally getting more and more volume, but it's still not moving. The OBV is getting bullish, but the price is stuck actually. That's where, we might be saying that the money is started rotating from Bitcoins to Bitcoin pairs, and that alt specifically is going to pump more and it's going to outperform actually. So ladies and gentlemen, I think overall I am bullish on Bitcoin. 52,858 level is the only levels I really see on Bitcoin. Anything above that is we are wishing for a new all-time highs. USD dominance is at a final level of support of 5.1%. Losing that levels on the daily time frame is literally going to kill the USD dom, and we then probably going to go deeper pullback. But one thing which is very, very frustrating for me on the USD dom, remember yesterday what happened? Remember yesterday, I just want to show you a very small price action, everybody knows about it. Just want to show you one thing, and probably you will be able to relate it. Now, what happened was the USD DOM, the Bitcoin on the lower term time frame had an equal highs on Bybit. Now on Binance or maybe Spot, on Coinbase also did not sweep the highs, but on Binance many say that it swept, but it was like an equal highs. It did not sweep the highs. So this is where the equal highs were left. And what happened? This was the actual lows that we have around on Bitcoin. I mean, I was honestly sleeping, and I would have just compounded my long at 49,500. That was the perfect levels to compound your longs. But what happened, the equal highs normally act like a magnet for a price. It normally goes there actually, irrespective of the fact the price literally bounced from here. The currently for the USD dominance, the fear is huge for the USD dominance. So basically we are in an extreme greed position for Bitcoin with the market currently at. So these highs were taken out by Bitcoin in a single slingshot. So if you just look at the USD dom, the USD dominance is having equal highs as well over here. We swept the lows, and we now making lower lows over here. Basically, I mean, this is a little bit sign of caution or a bit of worry actually, because at some point of time, maybe in future, maybe in coming months or years or whatever, I mean, this is like a liquidity. I mean, this is where the market is going to head. The USD dominance is literally going to nail that liquidity. And once that happens, guys, once USD dominance start reclaiming 6.2% levels, I would say you literally don't look for any long opportunities, even if it is at big support, because the price is then going to keep on pumping on USD DOM, and the market is literally going to go nuts. So with everything has said, guys, we, despite of the fact that we are bullish, but we don't need to be blindly bullish. I mean, we are not like a sheep or a herd actually. No, we are a smart investors, we are smart traders. So as a smart person, you really need to also understand what are the cons of the up move or to be bullish. I mean, this is exactly the cons. I mean, of course, we have equal highs over here. The structure looks insane to me. We have made equal, like a swept the lows. Weekly is looking good on the USD DOM. Something we need to be keeping in mind in case if it starts flipping 5.63% back, then I would say game will be on for the USD DOM to be bullish, at that point of time. But for now, it is the time for Bitcoin to shine. Now, I'm not going to take any profits over here. I might be looking to sell my spot bags on Bitcoin around 52,858 or $53,000. But I will be looking to sell only by seeing a good reaction over there, or, some sort of a harsh reaction. Till then, I'm just simply going to hold these spot bags. Yesterday, everybody got bearish on this dump, but I did mention we are not bearish at all. This dip is for buying. And I also mentioned in the corner, wave A local bottom is in basically. And also in the morning, I mentioned we have flipped the important levels of 49.5. We are going to 50.8 levels minimum, and we are going to rocket. And we are here at 51,641, ladies and gentlemen. I do think that sometimes what happens is we just need to press the button, and sometimes we just need to forget. But important thing is, don't over leverage. Don't go for 50x, 100x, because you really don't want to get wrecked right now when the market is so bullish and there is a hell lot of opportunities coming in the market. Because in 2020 I made majority of my millions, and not with the help of the leverage, but majority with the help of just by holding the spot bags I had, which did almost 50x, 100x. They literally did it. But you really need to hold it. Holding is something is very difficult because the FOMO is huge. You really feel like, oh my God, I mean, your bags are moving slow when it's going to perform. Other coins are performing. We need to flip flop. Sometimes you need to stick with. I have a good bag of INJ, as I mentioned. Everybody knows about it. And I'm not here to tell you that INJ is going to outperform or whatever. But trust me, what I'm saying is INJ is like a coin which is going to go for $150 in this bull run, and maybe it can even go to $250 plus as well. But that's exactly where it's going to head. I'm already having INJ. I've bought a lot around, on this dip as well. Over here I bought, and if you remember, we literally bought INJ around $6.8, but I literally sold around $18, $17.8 to $18. I mean, that was like a mistake because I felt that it was going to reject. It did reject from $18 to $16 or maybe even $14, and then it run back turbo actually, but I did not board because I was waiting for maybe $10 or so. But overall, I think that INJ is bullish, and it's literally going to that triple digit INJ in next coming months. Before that, it can go to $25 as well. I mean, $25 is your range highs. It is not yet tested. Normally in a bull run, when the price flips it tests those levels of range highs before it run up. So in case if you're not having that bag of INJ, you should be buying that INJ bag around $25.3 to $25 if it gives you guys. If it gives you, I'm not guaranteeing anything that it's going to give you. But yeah, of course, I think the Bitcoin dominance is going to dump. So the alts can perform very, very well actually. Looking to the total 3, guys, my plan for the total 3 perfectly playing out. I mentioned we are bullish, and I mentioned that we are going for that run up on total 3, guys, and that's exactly what we did and what we are doing. So we got a nice impulsive move on the downside till 440 billion. I was slightly expecting it to run back down towards 420 to 419, but that's fine. Our support resistance algo is more accurate than my support and resistance that I draw normally. But I feel at this point that this move is your 5 waves impulsive move on the total 3 crypto market cap, and it's a bullish impulse, guys. You really don't need to mess with it, because the move that we got on the downside was clearly ABC, the 3-wave move, and now we are getting an impulsive move. I think at this point, what I feel is that, just imagine if this is like a wave 1, this is like a wave 2. I feel that the alts are going to pump up very hard once Bitcoin cools off a bit and gives us that flash. Because if you look at the 2020 pump, look at the 2021, look at 2018 as well, alt season normally begins once Bitcoin starts cooling off. and then the money starts flowing into alts, because till then alt season is not gonna happen. It's not going to happen. Hence, I think at this point that we are even if we do happen to get a move on the downside a little bit, that is fine because we are the resistance. I think we are going to 560 billion and maybe even 600 billion dollars for total three actually, which means that alt is going to pump from the current levels. Even if you compute the percentage, it is minimum 6.17%, and max it can pump to 12% to 13% more than Bitcoin. So that's what, I mean, total 13% can pump. Now, some alts are going to outperform Bitcoin, some alts are not going to outperform. Many alts are going to just go at par with Bitcoin, and many alts are not going to pump as well. That is something we need to analyze in deep, which also in my view are going to go. I've already gave you the list in the community, in the, the alts that I feel that are likely going to pump. So let's see. Let's have a wait and watch. So that's all for the today's stream, guys. If you would like to join us, you can join our community. Also, there is a link in the stream description to join the Discord, or join us on Twitter. Follow us, guys. That's all. Have a nice day and enjoy the bull run for Bitcoin. 52,858 level is the most important and crucial level for you. So till we are under, there is an expectation that we are likely going to reject. And I think that overall we are bullish unless the price starts flipping back under 48,000, or I wouldn't say $49,000. If we start getting back in under that levels, then we might be definitely looking for a test of a bigger support of $47,000 and maybe 45,425 for previous month value very high. But for now, I'm not seeing that sort of a retest. It's what it's saying is we are running back up. That's what we are so far in 2024. This was the 2023 highs of 44,777. So even if you bought at 2023 highs, you are still up almost close to 15%. So everybody who bought Bitcoin from 2022 to 2024 right now, in these 2022, 2023, 2024, everybody is bullish. Majority of the people are in profits. In fact, the miners are in profits because their average cost of mining the Bitcoin is roughly around $39,500 to $39,000, depend on the countries and their electricity cost. But anywhere between 39,000 to 39,500. So right now they are in heavy profits, and once that happens, guys, I do think that miners capitulation is done, which means that literally now that the cost of mining Bitcoin is 40,000, after this halving that we're going to see, the cost of mining Bitcoin is going to mostly increase by 1.5x to 2x, which is going to be roughly around $80,000. So just imagine, if you really want to make Bitcoin, the whole network work, you really need the price of Bitcoin to pump up literally to $450,000. And in near future, that $80,000 with the capitulation for a miner, retesting back to $60,000 would be your dream for buying Bitcoin at that point of time. $60,000 would be your dream of buying Bitcoin. Miners get capitulated and Bitcoin starts running back up. So basically at that point of time, you're, in maybe 2028 or maybe even 2032, we might see that the cost of mining for Bitcoin is going to shoot up from current of 40,000, almost close to $160,000 per Bitcoin because of the halving. And that's exactly where, the price of the Bitcoin is going to be. I mean, we really want the network to survive, then we really want the price to be above those levels. So I think the future of Bitcoin is really good. And if you're an investor, I mean, it's like you're just going to hold it for like few years. And that's exactly what MicroStrategy is doing now. Unless the CBDC is going to come in and they're going to take everything in their control with the digital ID, which is also likely a possibility in 2024 or maybe in 2025. But that CBDC is going to come. That's what I have heard. And when that happens, I think the market is going to see some big flush on the USD DOM. Why? Because on the upside, of course, because the USD dominance is going to die, because they're going to remove all the stable coins from the market. No stable coins are going to survive at that point of time after CBDC, and they're going to launch that digital dollar. The Fed is going to replace it with digital dollar, which is literally going to have the digital ID of every user in it, so they can trace every money which is going in and out, from where it is moving. You won't be able to even, you know, hide your bitcoins. That's what the CBDC is. Basically is not a very simple as you think. It's like a digital ID, internet. Right now, if anybody wants to know you, they can track you with your IP address, correct? But you can just probably do whatever with your IP address. I mean, everybody knows it, how the hackers work. But the digital ID is a very different thing, which means that even your IP won't be able to flip flop. It's like controlling the whole internet by giving you the digital ID. I mean, it's a big, big, big concept, guys, and they're working towards it. They're working towards it. Also, the last update of this whole chart is going to be, my favorite chart is SPX. Now, SPX is very bullish. I was expecting it to go to 4950, max 5,000. 4950 to $5,000 max. I mean, that's what I was expecting, but it went slightly up. I mean, it's fine. It went slightly up, but now that XPI have started reversing, guys, there is a little bit sign of a worry sign, because we rejected from my first entry level of this red box. Now we will see how are we going to close this 2 days. Are we going to close this as a bearish engulfing candle, the one we had over here, if you remember, an engulfing candle followed by a big bear market for SPX and dumping 20% move on the downside? If we are having this big bearish engulfing candle this week as well on an SPX, you can say that the top is in and we are going simply towards the levels of another 20% dump, and the market is going to do something like this on an SPX, retesting back to 4,568 and then running back up. Something like this would be very, very common. So SPX, I think in 2 days, 2 days are going to be very, very crucial for SPX. And a similar chart that I know somebody have followed this chart, which was the gold chart. If you just look at the gold as well, I think SPX can do a very similar sort of a thing that gold did actually in the past. And the bearish engulfing candle, we were bearish on gold. I also mentioned that anything 2060 to 2080 is where we should be shorting it. My target for the gold is currently at 1910, but what I'm trying to tell you is that gold also run up over here, as you can see, and then we got a bearish engulfing candle, a dump, and then a further dump on the downside. That's what we are watching right now on the gold. So if SPX also get that bearish engulfing candle, that would be the first sign of an SPX, I would say, the topping out on the weekly time frame, and it would be very, very significant engulfing candle, because overall on weekly bearish engulfing candle have always played out over here. As you can see, the engulfing candles, this is not an engulfing candle, this is not an engulfing candle. Over here, this was also an engulfing candle over here, as you can see, a perfect engulfing candle as well. And then we are likely going to see, maybe, I'm not sure, we need to wait for 2 days, 11 hours to confirm whether this is going to be an engulfing candle or not. Overall, dollar index is bullish, and I have this harmonic, and I would say 85% of the time this harmonic normally plays out. The target for this harmonic is 0.5 Fibonacci levels, which is going to be at this point, because this is like a shark, and shark normally bites big. Now let's say if it goes from here, the top is in at 1886 Fibonacci levels. For SPX, a minimum target would be a 0.5 Fibonacci levels, which is around 4,275. And the most anticipated target, a full-fledged target for a bearish shark, would be $3,300. The sweep of this C wave, that would be the most anticipated target. So the first target would be around 4,275 or so, and then the ultimate target would be around these levels for SPX. So ladies and gentlemen, I think at this point SPX is very, very critical. I would not be investing anything this week in any stocks, honestly speaking, even if it wants to pump to 5,365, because that's my sell zone. My sell zone starts from 5,050 to 5,365. That's a clear sell zone for SPX. And I really don't want to be on the wrong side of it, even if it's in price discovery. Right now SPX is in price discovery, in fact. But looking into the structure that we have here, I really feel that, SPX, a big move is going to happen soon actually. So that's all, ladies and gentlemen, for us. And congratulations for those who caught the Bitcoin pump. We literally caught it. Show caught it. Also mentioned on the yesterday as well that wave A is in and we are riding it. Show, I think, booked profits fully. Congratulations, bro, if you're here on the stream. And he literally gave a hell lot of, he's our mini Elliot, from WWG. He is like nailing every alt trade actually we have. I mean, I'm majorly focused on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and that's what my, my main criteria is honestly for playing out. BTC and ETH is where I've made major money, and some alts, of course, at that point of time. But for now, my main focus is Bitcoin and Ethereum. I make money in that, and probably going to rotate that money, and we going to rotate. Of course, it's not that I only make money. We all gonna make it so far, and that's all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Have a nice day, and we're going to connect later on the private stream probably by end of the day. And our challenge is going well. Yesterday was a little bit setback, but overall we are good, and we're going to keep on continuing for the challenge. So that's all, guys. Have a nice day. Bye bye.